You're standing in a crowded room, and every conversation feels like a performance you're failing. Your heart races. Your mind goes blank. You smile, nod, say something forgettable, and retreat to the bathroom to catch your breath. You tell yourself it's just shyness, just introversion, just who you are. But here's what should disturb you. This isn't personality. It's prison. We've been taught that social anxiety is a personal defect, something wrong with our brain chemistry, our childhood, our sensitivity. We medicate it, therapize it, try to positive think our way out of it. And it never works. Because we're treating the symptom while ignoring what Niccolò Machiavelli understood 5 centuries ago when he wrote The Prince. Machiavelli wasn't writing about political power. He was mapping human nature itself, the mechanics of perception, influence, and the strategic games we play every moment we interact with another person. And what he saw was this: social anxiety isn't fear of other people. It's fear of your own powerlessness in a world where perception is reality. He watched brilliant men destroy themselves through social incompetence. He watched mediocrities rise to power through strategic presentation. And he documented the exact mechanisms that separate those who navigate social reality with ease from those who drown in it. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how Machiavelli's principles for political power apply to your social anxiety and how understanding this transforms you from victim to strategist. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. And those few will not dare to oppose the opinion of the many who have the majesty of the state to defend them." What did he mean? In Renaissance Italy, he witnessed princes lose kingdoms not because they lacked virtue, but because they lacked the appearance of virtue. A good man perceived as weak was overthrown. A ruthless man perceived as strong maintained order. Reality bowed to perception. Today, this dynamic doesn't just determine who rules kingdoms. It determines who gets the job, who attracts quality relationships, who commands respect in every room they enter. And it's infinitely more brutal now because we live in an age of constant performance. Every interaction is an audition. Every conversation a test you didn't study for. Think about your last social gathering. You weren't actually worried about being rejected. You were worried about being perceived as the person who gets rejected. You weren't afraid of saying something stupid. You were afraid of being seen as the stupid one. The anxiety wasn't about the interaction. It was about the image. This is what most people never realize. Social anxiety has nothing to do with lacking social skills. You're not broken. You're strategically incompetent. You've entered a game of perception without understanding the rules, and you're losing because you're still pretending the game doesn't exist. Machiavelli understood that human societies operate on power dynamics whether we acknowledge them or not. Deny the game, and you become its victim. Understand the game, and anxiety transforms into strategy. This is the first mechanism. Pay attention. You've confused authenticity with strategic suicide. You've been told to just be yourself, to be authentic, vulnerable, real. And every time you try it in a social situation, you feel more exposed, more anxious, more judged. Machiavelli observed, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel." In his Florence, he watched honest men trusted less than strategic performers. The authentic prince who showed weakness was assassinated. The calculating prince who projected strength was feared and obeyed. Today, we've weaponized authenticity against ourselves. You walk into a networking event believing that showing your nervousness is being real. You share your insecurities thinking it creates connection. You apologize for existing, believing humility is virtue. And here's what happens. People sense your uncertainty. Not consciously, their nervous systems detect the social weakness the same way predators detect injured prey. They don't think you're authentic. They think you're unstable, not safe to invest in, not valuable to associate with. Here's what Machiavelli understood that most people miss. Authenticity without strategic awareness is just unprocessed anxiety broadcast as social signal. You're not being real, you're being reactive. Have you felt this in yourself? That moment when you decide to just be honest about your nervousness, and somehow it makes everything worse? This is why social anxiety compounds. Because every authentic expression of fear reinforces others' perception of you as fearful. The image becomes the reality. The mechanics are merciless. You're waiting for conditions that will never come. You tell yourself you'll be confident when you're more successful, when you lose weight, when you have better stories, when you're genuinely interesting. You're waiting for internal transformation to precede social competence. Machiavelli wrote, "I hold it to be true that fortune is the arbiter of one half of our actions, but she still leaves us to direct the other half." In his political analysis, he watched men wait for favorable conditions while their enemies seized unfavorable ones. The cautious prince who waited for certainty lost to the bold prince who manufactured certainty through action. This happens in every social interaction you avoid. You're waiting to feel confident before acting confident, waiting to be interesting before engaging interestingly, waiting for anxiety to disappear before entering situations that trigger anxiety. The neurological truth: confidence doesn't precede competence. Competence creates confidence. Your brain doesn't reduce anxiety because you thought about it differently. It reduces anxiety because you survived the thing you feared and updated its threat assessment. Here's what Machiavelli understood that therapy culture ignores. You don't overcome anxiety through internal work. You overcome it through strategic action that proves the fear irrational. While you wait for the perfect internal state, others with worse anxiety but better strategy are building reputations, relationships, and social capital. This is why anxious people stay anxious. Because waiting for confidence is the mechanism that prevents confidence from ever arriving. And the cost is everything. Your retreat creates the exact dynamic you fear. When you feel anxious in social situations, your instinct is withdrawal. You go quiet. You fade to the periphery. You let others dominate the conversation while you observe from the safety of silence. Machiavelli observed, "One who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived." In political dynamics, he saw that power vacuums don't stay empty. They get filled by whoever is willing to claim them. The prince who hesitated to assert authority found his authority assumed by others. Watch what happens in any group conversation. Someone asks a question. There's a moment of silence. Whoever fills that silence, even with something mediocre, now controls the frame. You stayed silent because you wanted to say something perfect. Someone else spoke because they understood that presence beats perfection. Your anxiety tells you that staying quiet keeps you safe from judgment. But here's the mechanism Machiavelli mapped. Social hierarchies form instantly and unconsciously. When you withdraw, others don't think, they're thoughtful and observant. They categorize you as low status, someone who doesn't compete for social capital. And once that perception sets, every interaction reinforces it. You speak less because you feel less valuable. Others listen less because they've already assessed you as less valuable. The spiral tightens. Here's what he understood that should terrify you. In social dynamics, there is no neutral ground. You're either claiming space or ceding it. Your silence isn't safety, it's surrender. Have you noticed this pattern? How the less you speak, the harder it becomes to speak. How invisibility becomes identity. This is the architecture of social defeat. And it's completely reversible. But here's where Machiavelli's wisdom becomes truly powerful. where understanding transforms into strategic precision. Every mechanism I've described is operating on everyone around you. They're all playing the perception game. They're all worried about image. They're all competing for status. The difference is, you now understand the mechanics. They're still unconscious. Machiavelli wrote The Prince not to teach evil, but to reveal reality. Once you see the game clearly, you can play it consciously. And conscious players dominate unconscious ones. Here's your advantage. Social anxiety is actually strategic awareness turned against itself. You're hyper-attuned to social dynamics. You're just using that attunement to catastrophize instead of calibrate. While others bumble through interactions unaware of the power games they're losing, you can see the moves before they happen. The person who dominates conversations isn't more confident than you, they're more strategic. They understand that whoever frames the conversation controls it. Whoever asks questions holds power. Whoever demonstrates scarcity of attention creates value. While others are trying to be liked, you'll be strategically creating the perception that earns respect. While they're being authentic and wondering why it doesn't work, you'll be authentic strategically, revealing only what serves your purpose, maintaining mystery where it creates intrigue. This isn't manipulation. It's consciousness. Machiavelli didn't invent power dynamics. He simply described them. You're not creating a false self. You're learning to present your real self through strategic architecture instead of reactive anxiety. Remember that crowded room from the beginning? That performance anxiety? That desperate retreat to the bathroom? Here's how you see it now. That room is a strategic landscape. Every conversation is a negotiation. Every interaction is an opportunity to claim or cede social positioning. Your anxiety was actually correct assessment. You were in a competitive environment. You just lacked the tools to compete. Machiavelli's final lesson: it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Translate this to social dynamics. It means respect precedes affection. Warmth without strength reads as desperation. Kindness without boundaries reads as weakness. The people who command both respect and affection do it in that order. Here's the truth that brings peace. Social dynamics are inherently strategic. This will never change. You cannot fix it, cannot make it fair, cannot opt out of the game. You can only accept it. And in that acceptance, you find power. This week, practice Machiavellian presence. Enter one social situation and claim space before anxiety tells you to retreat. Ask the first question. Make the first statement. Fill the power vacuum deliberately. Not because you feel confident, but because you understand the mechanics. Notice what happens when you act before you're ready. Watch how projection shifts. Observe how anxiety decreases through strategic action, not internal processing. Write in the comments, "I'm choosing strategy over comfort." Machiavelli spent his life mapping power because power is reality. Your anxiety isn't the problem. Your refusal to see social dynamics clearly is. Accept the game, learn the rules, and finally, operate with precision.